Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have a fun puzzle here. At least I believe it's going to be a fun puzzle. And it's also something that I've been trying to get one of these puzzles on the channel for a little while now. And I think this is hopefully the one that we can get this to go on. It has to do with dynamic fog. So we all know about fog of war. People tend to really enjoy fog of war puzzles. But this has a little bit of a new twist on dynamic fog. And I think dynamic fog has been out. There have been puzzles with it for probably the last couple of months at this point. But again, I just haven't had a chance to be able to get onto one of these things and try to get it solved onto this. So that's what I want to do today. So with that said, let's take a look at this thing, see what's going on. So it's called Diminishing Returns Dynamic Fog by Flinty. There actually is another puzzle has the same title, Diminishing Returns, which has absolutely nothing to do with this or the concepts of this, but this is the one, and it's not by Flinty either, it's not by another setter or setters. But anywho, this one is the Diminishing Returns Dynamic Fog one. So just a preface there in case you see another one called Diminishing Returns for some reason. And I might actually do a video on that other puzzle as well. Enough babbling. What the heck's going on with this thing? So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply, so typical, every row, every column, if I can get the mouse to go straight, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Now we have our dynamic fog. So in this puzzle, correctly placed digits will reveal that cell only. Some key deductions will uncover more fog. No guessing is required. So let's break that down a little bit. Normally, what I would do is say, if we were to somehow figure out what this digit is, all of this fog would clear, because the fog, in a normal fog of war, would behave this way. This is not the case. If we were to figure out what this digit was, this cell would reveal itself, and that's it. Except for, it says that some key deductions will uncover more fog. So there's the possibility that if we did figure out what this one was, it could reveal all this, or it might reveal some other grouping. I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't really know. I haven't solved one of these before, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, but I guess it's possible that you get this digit, you might be able to clear something like that, or who knows what. But it's supposed to be dynamic, so it's supposed to be multiple ways that fog can be cleared. And of course, there's no guessing required, so there's enough information on the visible puzzle to be able to solve this thing, and then to get more clues as we clear fog. So that's the dynamic fog. Next, we have arrows. So the value of digits along an arrow must sum to the value of the digit in the corresponding circle. Digits may repeat if allowed by other Sudoku rules. So we have a bunch of arrows kind of poking out. We've got a couple of them up here that are fully open, so we'll use those as examples. So whatever these two digits are, when you add them together, that's what this digit will be. Whatever these three digits are when added together will be what this digit is. And like I said, you can repeat digits. So if this was to do something like this, let's say, these two digits could repeat because the other Sudoku rules do allow it to happen. Then we have counting circles. So if a digit is in a circle, exactly that many instances of that digit must appear in circles. And arrow circles count as circles. So what's the best way to go through this one? I guess, well, we have a couple of arrow circles shown. And there may be other circles throughout this puzzle somewhere. We don't know where exactly because we can't see any of this, but let's say there are this many. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different digits. So it means that, and in this example, I'm just saying that this is a possible variation, and there could be more, there could be less, who knows. But the point would be, if this was the case in this puzzle, there's 7 of them. Either all of these circles are 7s, because we'd have 7 7s, or it could be some variation of that number. So it could be 2 2s and 5 5s, or you could break it down any way you want. But that's the nature. So however many circles there actually are in this puzzle, which we don't know, is going to determine what the values can be in all of the circles. And there may be circles out here that have nothing to do with arrows. They could just be floating circles anywhere, and they don't have to abide by any rules other than normal Sudoku and the counting circles rule set. So that's that. I think I've talked enough on this intro already. So let's jump into this thing and see if we can get it figured out, because I would really like to be able to, again, put a dynamic fog puzzle onto this channel so that you guys can actually see this if you haven't seen it already. So where are we going to start? Well, we'll leave the rules as they are because there's no need to scroll on these. So, yes, where do we begin? Well, in fog puzzles, we are always going to look at what's clear to our view. Well, not necessarily always, but most of the time we can do. So we have the perimeter of this thing exposed for our viewing pleasure. So what the heck do we have in here that we can use? Now, like I said before in reading the rules, we've got a bunch of arrows that are kind of sticking in and out of our fog down here, but I don't know if there's much we can do with any of this stuff because these things could extend, well, they can't do that, but there could be an extension of how these arrows work that we just can't see. So there could actually be multiple digits on these arrows, and since they can repeat, there could be, like I said, there could be a lot going on there. So I don't think we can use anything there. The very first thing that I noticed would obviously be this guy, because we know what's going on here. It's a 3-cell arrow, and they're all in the same row, all in the same region as well. So they must be different numbers. So this has to at least be a 6. So 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now, what else can we know from that? I guess we can make some determinations about what this could be depending on what this is. Because if this was a 6, we would know this is a 1, 2, 3. So these digits would have to be a 4, 5. And therefore this would be a 9. I don't know if going through every possible option here is the way to go, but I'm going to take a look at it because I'm not quite sure what else I can do at the moment. So if this is a 7, this is 1, 2, 4. The minimum here would be 3, 5, so we're looking at 8. If we have an 8, there's 2 ways to make 8, 1, 2, 5, which gets you to 3, 4 would be left over 7, or 1, 3, 4, which is 7. What about 9? That probably opens up this a bit because there's multiple ways to make 9 as well. There's 1, 2, 6, which leaves 3, 4, which is 7. There's 1, 3, 5, which will leave 2, 4, which is 6. And there's 2, 3, 4, which would be 1, 5, which equals 6. So I guess we can kind of pare this thing down. But how does that help us? That's the important question, is it? So there has to be some value to be able to see all this, right? The perimeter of this thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be shown right off the bat. What about counting circles? Can we do anything with those? Because these are part of the counting circle grouping. So I guess what that says, we know there's at least 6 counting circles, but there could be a ton of them. I mean, it doesn't have to be limited to any single cell digit or anything like that. So, I mean, you could have this be a 6 and have, wherever 6 different circles that abide by that. And this could be some other value like a 7. And it could just have its own grouping of 7s, somewhere. Like, not that. There. Something like that could work for 7s. So you could have 6 and 7, or they could be the same one. What about 9? Because 9's a bit extreme, isn't it? Because if we have a 9, that means we have to have one circle in every single region. Because there's 9 regions. You can't repeat a digit in a region. So can we make that happen? Wait a second. Oh, I think must be why this is exposed. Because if we think about it in a different way, if we have a 9 in a counting circle, not only do we have to have each region contain a 9 circle, we also have to have every row and or column also have a 9 circle. But we know there's no 9 in this column. There's no 9 in this row. So I think that would break the puzzle. I just want to make sure that's correct before I move forward. Yeah, because there's just no way that can work. You have to be able to have 9 in every row, column, and region. So because this row and column cannot contain a circle 9, this cannot be 9. Okay. That's something, I guess. Now, we said previously the reason this could be if this was a 6, this would be a 1, 2, 3, and this would be a 4, 5, which means this would have to be 9. But if this can't be a 9, this can't be a 6. Can we continue to break this down in some way? Because if this is 7, we're looking at 1, 2, 4. Again, this would have to at least be 7. Because we'd have... Oh, sorry, this would have to at least be 8 if this was a 7. Because it would be 1, 2, 4, 3, 5 is the bare minimum. And if this was 8, we're looking at, again, 1, 2, 5, which is 3, 4 to 7, or 1, 3, 4, which is 2, 5 to 7. So this can't be 6 either. Okay. So we've got these down to 7s and 8s at least. Can we go any further? So if this is a 7, this is a 1, 2, 4, and this has to be 3, 5 for 8. If this is an 8, 1, 2, 5, and 1, 3, 4 always equals 7. So these are always different. Because if this is 7, this has to be 8. And if this is 8, this has to be 7. So we have a 7 and an 8. Which one is which? I don't know. How do we take that further? Well, I guess let's look at counting circles again then. Because if we know one of them is a 7, we know one of them is an 8. So if we have a 7, let's say, yeah, we can easily get 7s into all these regions in some way. And if we had an 8, we'd have to be able to get an 8 into every other one, because if this is 8, this has to be 7. And this region would have to have... Well, I guess it could go this way. We don't necessarily have to have the 8 circle here. Let's just kind of look through this. How would we make an 8 work down here? Let's think about that instead of using kind of random guesses. Not guesses necessarily, but picking spots and seeing if anything works and doesn't work. If we have to have an 8, we can only have 2 of them up here. Doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter which of the 3 regions they're in. So if one of them is the 8, it could either go in here or in here. If this one's an 8, No, I guess if the 8's up there, that does change, because it could be like this. Because we then have those all be 8's, and then... But I guess on one of these sides, you're always going... It seems like you're always going to have an issue, no matter how you organize the 8's. Because no matter, let's say, so if we looked at this one as the 8, it forces only one of these 3 regions to be able to have an 8 in it. If you think about this one to have an 8, well, again, you could put these as 8's. Once you start looking down this side, you're going to have to pick either this region or this region. So there's always going to be one left out. Of the 8's. And it will continue this way as well in this instance. I'll look at the other one in a second here. But this being an 8, we've now removed this from being an 8. It doesn't matter where these other ones go. Only one of these 2 could possibly have an 8 in it, these 2 regions, because of the fact that the fog is covering like this. So if we put one here, we can never put an 8 in here, but we've already said we can't have an 8 in here. We can't have an 8 in the fog, I guess is the better way to put it. But we have to be able to have 8 givens that are circles. This doesn't really... Does this work at all? There has to be a way to work this out. If we know we have to have an 8 in one of the 2, how do we reconcile that and still be able to get 8 circles in here? What am I not seeing here? Because it doesn't look like we can do it in this instance. Because no matter how we end up doing it, we can't put an 8 in here, and we can't put an 8 in here. Is it the same issue if we do it this way? We're never going to be able to put an 8 in one of these. We can put them in these 2. 6, 7. We can't put another one in there either. I must be looking at something wrong here, or I'm making a wrong deduction. Because I don't see how you can ever put 8 into a circle, or have 8 circles. What am I missing? Was I right with my math? If this is 7, this is 1, 2, 4. This has to be 3, 5. That's 8. If this is 8, again, 1, 2, 5, which leave 3, 4 for a 7. Or 1, 3, 4, which leaves 2, 5 for a 7. So that the math seems to work there. I can't reconcile, at least not an example as to how we get an 8 into one of these 2. 8. I must be looking at something wrong here. Because every way you think about it, we can never have 8 hidden circles, or 7 hidden circles, to go with one of these other ones. But the math seems to prove that it is a 7 and an 8. Now we can always put an 8 outside, to be able to put an 8 in the grid, but I need a circle. Can't use them, reuse them. Yeah, I'm confused on this one. How do we make that work? It's probably very obvious I'm just missing something here. It seems that no matter wherever we place our 8, if we do it here, we can only get one more of these, either one of these two in. We always come up one short. Let me look at this math one more time to make sure I'm not being stupid. Oh, I am being stupid. We can't have 7 and 8. Because of what I've just shown. It doesn't work out. These could both be 7s or could both be, well, it can't both be 7s. They could both be 8s. Can't they? Because I was looking at the minimum, and I'm being a bit slow here. If this was a 7 and these were 1, 2, 4, yes, we would have an 8 here. But if this is an 8, 1, 3, 4, we could put a 2, 6 to make 8. I'm just bleh. Not thinking properly because I'm thinking of just minimums. But we just said that we can't have this be 7, or we can't ever have an 8 in these circles unless they are both 8s. And we've just shown that we can't have a difference, one being 7, one be 8. And we can't make 7, 7, because if we do a 7 here, it's 1, 2, 4, and this has to be 8. So I think that means these both have to be 8. Let's think on that a little bit. Yeah, because there's just no other way it can work. These have to be 8. Because we've just proven all the other variables don't work. So these are 8s. Now that didn't clear any fog, but we must remember we're working with dynamic fog. So there isn't necessarily an error here. Because in normal fog, these would clear. But they don't have to here. If these all have to be 8, that means we have to have 8 different circles hidden somewhere. And we're always going to have one region that cannot have an 8. Can we tell which one it is, though? Because obviously we know these are 8s then, by the logic that we put through. Is there any way to make this work? I don't think... Is it possible to ever put an 8 in this thing down here? I think that's what's... If we were to put an 8 here, no matter what we do, we've just removed this as a possibility of having an 8. We can put our circles wherever the heck we want to. It doesn't matter. But if we continue looking at what possible options are, we've also just removed this. So is this the variable where there can't be an 8 here? Let's try it without using this one. Yeah, we can absolutely make those work. That, oh, sorry. No, that like that. Like, this is just an example. This is not how this would actually work, but we can make it work. 7, 8, there are 8 of them. if we don't use this one or try to put something in here. Because I guess the way to think about it is it kind of creates like an X-wing almost. Because we're going to have to put an 8 in here in one of these two, which means we have an X-wing, so none of these can be. So the 8 would have to go here somewhere. But we also have to put an 8, sorry, in one of these, which means we'd have to have an 8 out here. So I think what that means is this cannot have an 8 in it. How does that help us? Well, it means that all these other ones do, and we create like a crossing pattern. Does that mean this digit has to be an 8? I'm a bit shaky on whether I'm going down the right path here, to be honest, but it does seem like everything that I've worked through is creating this or making this work. Let's think about it one more time before we leap into this assertion. Yeah, because it doesn't, I mean, you can keep putting in different positions. We can never have an 8 in any of these positions, no matter how we try to set these up. So I'm going to say this has to be an 8, and we may find out, well, if this is not an 8, we won't really know if I'm wrong, because it's dynamic fog, and we only necessarily have to clear that bit, but we don't know that. I can't see any other way this can possibly work, though. So I think this has to be an... Oh, hello. I wasn't expecting that, but that does seem to tell me that what I've done is correct. That cleared out this entire ring. That's really weird. That's very interesting, though. That's cool as can be in terms of the dynamic fog and what the possibilities there are. But that is crazy. Okay, so we now know that these guys have to be 8s, because we have to get an 8 into all of these circles, wherever we happen to have them. That then creates an 8 here, which, okay, that cut off, well, not all of it, but it cut out all of this, which is interesting, and gave us a 7. Okay. What else can we do? One of these two is an 8. One of these two is an 8. It doesn't appear. I'm gonna come back to these arrows in a second once I kind of just catch my breath on what the heck's going on here. It somehow seems to be working, but it's almost like I don't believe it myself at the moment. But anywho, we know we have to be able to put an 8 in one of these, and we have to be able to put an 8 somewhere in here. This can't ever be an 8 because it's part of this arrow. I mean, I guess, can we really say that? Because it's... No, because there's no way this arrow could exist if this was a circle. It would be like an in-between line or something. That's not possible. So one of these two would therefore have to be an 8. Because we said we can't have them in this cross pattern. This can't be an 8. So one of these is an 8, which means that's not an 8, which means this is an 8. Okay, that did clear. So we are on the right path. Now we have an X-wing of 8s left over that it doesn't look like we can determine just yet. Because this could very well be the end of the arrow, or it could be the circle. We don't know because the fog is covering it. So if it's the arrow, it could do something like this and double back on itself. Or this could be the circle, and these are just the digits that somehow get on the arrow and do something else. Okay. What can we do now? Let's gather ourselves here for a second. Now, it does appear that this arrow does that, but I don't know that I want to go into that just yet, because there's nothing in here that says the arrows can't overlap or they can't do other things. So what does this 7 do for us? because it's out here, bearing its soul, and there must be a reason why it's there. What about these two guys here? They can't be 7 or 8. What can they be? And is that enough information to do anything with? Because the thing is, either one of these could be as low. Oh, wait, no. Wait, we have more circles. Maybe that's what I need to be thinking about too. Let's work on what these options can be first, and then we'll kind of go from there. The options, though, are quite large about what this could be, because either one of these arrows, because they go off into a different region, can repeat digits. So these could be 1 and 1 with a 2. These could be 1 and 1 with a 2. Something like that. So these could be as low as 4. Or as high, well, no, we can't have 9. Let's get rid of that. There are no 9s. I didn't mean to hit that one down. Can we get up to a 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no way we can get to a 6. These can't be 6s. These can't both be 4s, though, either. Because we did say in these that these could be 1, 1, and 2. But that would force, for both these before, these would have to be 1, 1, and 2 as well. And then these 1s would break each other. So they can't both be 4s. Is it possible it's a 4 and a 5? So we could do 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's just mark that so we can keep things. This could be 5, 5, 5. That doesn't seem to work. I don't think we can make, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one of these has a 5. But we can never utilize all of those. Because the second we put anything in here, we remove this one. If we put anything in here, we remove both of these two. No. So these can't be a 4 and a 5, because there's no way to mathematically do that. And we know they can't both be 4. So the only options, therefore, would have to be they both have to be 5s. And then we have just enough room to make these as 5s. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that would be able to work. So these are 5s. It didn't clear anything, but that's okay. If they are 5s, again, this cannot be a 5. Because we'd have 1, 2, 3, and we can only get one more in here. So we have to have one of these be a 5, one of these be a 5. Not that one, obviously. And one of these in here has to be a 5. And somehow we need to figure out how that works. Well, we know this can't be a circle, so this can't be our 5. This is our 5. And that does show, okay. Now these can't be 5s. This, well, we know this isn't a 5, but we know this also isn't a circle anymore. So there has to be a circle in one of these two. There has to be a circle in one of these two. And they must add up to a 5. I don't think this here could ever be a circle 5. You'd have 1, 2, 3 at a bare minimum, then it'd cut back in. So this has to be the 5. Because we know it's either a catty corner like this, or it's catty corner like this. But the second we put the 5 down here, we'd have to get 3 different digits that connect in. Or it'd be 1, 2, 3 here, and then it comes off into some other way. So this doesn't just ever work. These are the 5s. And I'm completely wrong, somehow. How would that work? Oh, we still have the 8, you dummy. Didn't even think about that. We still have to get our 8s in here. Okay. Well, at least the fog told us we were wrong on this one. At least we can move on then from there. Excuse me. And figure out how the heck we're going to make this work now. So maybe we cannot determine these just yet. Let's go and look at the 5s then. Kind of annoyed with myself, I didn't see that. What can these digits be? 3 would probably be the highest we can ever go, yeah. Same with these. This is, again, 1, 2, and 3 is the highest we could ever go. So it's either a 3 with a 1, 1, or it's a 2 with the 1, 1. It always has to have a 1, 1. If that's the case, they're all the same. These all have to be 1s. No, that doesn't work. What am I talking about? I think I've lost my mind. It's either a 3 with a 1, 1, or it's a 2, 2 with a 1. That's what I'm trying to say. Glad I didn't click that button and make another mistake here, but this one is messing with my head a bit. So, all of these are either a 3 here with double 1s, or double 2s with a 1. So this can't ever be 2. These can't ever be 3. It's probably going to be the same for all of these. So again, we have to have the double. It's either a double 1 or a double 2. And this cannot be a 2. Double 1 or double 2, and this cannot be a 2. So we get it with a 1, 2 pair there. Okay. What does that do for this 8? It has to be a 3, 5. So we can't use 1 and 2. The next lowest we could do is 3 and 4, which is 7, but we have to still get one more. The only way to do that is do 3, 5. We don't have any 5s looking into that corner. And these digits are all of our leftovers. 4, 6, 7, and 9. I'm not going to write all those in. Okay. Can we go further then with this 8? Or one of these 8s? Or did I ignore this guy too much? Because we said we could do this be a 1, 2, 5 as an 8. Which wouldn't work. So I think that's probably what it was. I'm making this harder than it needs to be. I've been making this harder than it needs to be the entire time, I think. This has to be a 1, 3, 4 to allow this to be a 2, 6. Because if we do 1, 2, 5, this could be 3, 4 to equal 7, which we know it's not 7. But then the next step up has to be 3, 6, which is 9, which doesn't work. Okay. Although that doesn't quite do anything for us, does it? I guess it, well... Okay, maybe we can correlate this into here. What can these digits be? We could go as high as a 6 into some of these at the moment. Let's kind of look through our options and try to gather ourselves. No, we cannot go to 6 because this can't be a 1. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Oh, this can't be a 5. So it can't be 1, 3, 4, or 5. We know we can't put a 6 on it because we wouldn't be able to put double 1s. So this just is 2. Which means this is 1 and 3, and this is 1, and that does clear. Okay. These are not 1 or 3. This has to be a 4, which means this has to be a 2, and that does clear. That gives us a 6 and a 2. Whew. I've kind of butchered this one a little bit, but we're getting there, I guess. Let's keep going. That 2 now is going to circle in and give us everything we need, I think. And 3 and 2. This is a 2. These have to add up to 3, so that's a 2 and a 1. This is then a 4. This is the 3 and the 1. Now we've got a lot of information. We got there eventually. One of these is a 1. What else do we have? One of these is a 2. 3. I'm not really seeing things that are helping us at the moment, but I'm going to mark them for the moment. This has to be a 3 or a 4. Let's look at it that way instead of just randomly going about and looking at things. Fives. This has to be a 5. It's going to tell us what these have to be, which is 6, 7, and 9, which is going to tell us that this is a 5. Okay, so we've got some more 5-ish we can work with. One of these, this one is 5, actually, because we know one of those had to be 5, and none of these could be. Okay. Let's look at the other arrows that we have left over, and maybe there's something in there. Well, I guess we can continue and finish off some of this, and maybe there's something. I don't think so, because I think we're going to have a lot of these high digits. 6, 7s, and 9s throughout the the party here. Yeah, let's go back and look at these then. I don't know. Oh, yeah, we can actually, because of that 2, I think. What can this digit be? It can't be 1. It could be 2. It can't be 3. It can't be 4, because it has to be a 4 or 4 to equal 8. It can't be 5. It can't be 6. This can't be 7, because we can't put a 1 here. So this just is 2. This is 2 by Sudoku. This has to be 6. This is not, just minor cleanage here. Okay, we got that one to work. Can we go any further with our 2s? One of these is a 2. One of these is a 2. Now we don't know what this is, or if this is even the circle. So we can't make any info there. What about here? Let's do the same thing we did out here, see if we can figure something out there. This can't be 1, 2, or 3. It could technically be a 4 because we don't know that this thing ends here. But I guess we can say it can't be a 4, can't we? Because if this is a 4, what does that mean? Well, it means we have to go into this region with only 4 left. And no matter where this arrow goes, it can't go any further than a couple of spaces. If it were to go into here, it would either It can't be a 2-2, because again, we can't repeat 2s. And it can't be a 1-3, because we have a 1 and a 3 looking at this. So this can't ever be a 4. Can't be 5 by Sudoku. It's either 6 or 7. And if it's either 6 or 7, it can only extend one more spot, which means this would have to be 1 or 2, and it cannot be 1. This is 2, this is 6. Okay. This is not 2, which means this is 2. I have a feeling that the rest of this fog isn't going to clear until we get the specific digits of each one, because it's given us enough at this point. It seems like we can still make things happen. Are we done with 2s? We are. What about our 1s? One of these is a 1. No, not much else there at the moment. I think we're going to find the same for a lot of these digits. We already know the 5s, essentially. One of these is a 6, which means this isn't a 6, which means this is. Does that do anything else for us? Oh, this is just a given 6 because of these guys. Now none of these can be 6s. This is a 6, and it clears. Good. None of these are 6. One of these is. Okay, so it looks like we're 2 X-wings on 6s now. What about 7? Can we do anything further with any of these? Let's look at this here, actually, because there's only so much left in this region we can still do. So they're either 4, 7, or 9. This can never be 9 because it's on an arrow. Can it be a 7? I think the answer is no. Because if this is a 7, one of these 2 would be the circle. The other one would have to be a single digit. And it would have to be a 1 to be able to equal up to an 8. We can't put a 1 here. We can't put a 1 here. This can't be 7. This is 4. And that does clear a little bit more. Okay. Alrighty. So if this is 4, and we have this circle has to be 8. This has to be a 4. The circle had to be 8 because we had to finish our 8s, which means this is an 8. It's the only place left. This is a 1. Oh, this thing goes all over the place here, doesn't it? I wouldn't even thought about that. So it looks like, how many 5s do we actually, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it looks like we just have circles in 5s, and they don't actually account for, well, yeah, probably there's circles on 5, because I don't think you can't do anything in here to put a 5 that's on a circle that's part of an arrow, and it still works. You can't see anything out of it, but that's neither here nor there at the moment, I guess. So we need to figure out what's going on. So does this do this? Is a good question. Let's continue with our Sudoku and see what happens, because I don't want to make any determinations about what's what. I think it does have to do that, but I want to be certain about that before we try to move forward. This is a 3-5 pair, which means this is what? A 9. These are what? 3 and 6. Let's get rid of that. Well, okay, let's look at this thing. It could be a 1. It can't be 2, obviously. It can't be 3. Could it be a 4? Because it can't be 5, it can't be 6. I think we have to be able to know that this is a singular arrow. because we can't ever put a 5 in the middle of an arrow line. And if this was, even if we could do that, this would be a 5 with a 1 that doesn't equal 8. So there's no way that works. This has to be like this. It's the only way this can make any sense. So if this was a 4, you have 5, 6, 7. This would have to be a 1. It can't be. The 1 goes over here. So this is not 4. This is a 1. And we can put a 1 here. This can't be the 5. We actually know what it is, but we know this is going to be our 5, and this is going to be our 5, and this is our 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. This has to be a 4, and that does open that up. Okay. Boy, this one really, it gave me something. I don't know. It really messed with my head for some reason. So now we should just be able to finish our Sudoku. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, the 3s on the X-wing means this is a 3. This has to be 6 by Sudoku. These two digits have to be what? 7 and 9? Is there anything looking at them right now? There isn't. What about these two guys? We need to put a 4 in this region somewhere, and it can't be there, so it is here. These are 7s and 9s. This is 7 or 9. If that's the case, this is a given 4. This has to be 7 or 9. We're going to have a ton of 7, 9s to worry about. This 3 gives us the 3 here. This has to be a 4. It's the only thing left. These are both 7s and 9s. Now that 7 and 9 is going to help us, because we got the 7s and 9s because of these rows, but the 7, 9 looks up here and gives us a 6, 3, 6, not 6. That 3 gives us 4 and 3. So all of everything's done except for our 7s and 9s. Where is the elusive 7 or 9? There it is, that one. That one that's been sticking there, poking its head out at us for a long time. 9, 7. It's just going to go around the board. Yes, we can continue. Okay. 9s, 7s, if I can hit things properly. And that's going to break and finish. Good. Moogly. We got it done. Yay, congrats. Thank you for playing. I do enjoy, again, the customized there. That really kicked my butt, honestly. Almost an hour, well, probably more like 45 minutes if we take out the introduction, all that kind of stuff, but still. Did make a little mistake of logic here, and I guess thankfully the fog was there to show me I was wrong immediately when I was looking at how this arrow worked. Since it's an error that was immediately picked up, it's fine for me. It's an error, and I hate making errors, but it's something that is going to happen on occasion. I, again, hate doing it, but there it is. Anywho, this one was a bit crazy. I hope you all enjoyed it. I really did enjoy the dynamic fog, and I'm glad I was able to get this thing recorded and finished, even with the couple of little hiccups there. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you all so much for doing that, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.